Have you ever met someone who seemed completely normal at first, maybe even charming? They weren't loud. They didn't threaten you. They didn't look dangerous. But over time, something shifted. You felt drained after every interaction. Your confidence faded. You began second-guessing your own instincts. That's the thing about real-life evil. It doesn't always arrive with fire and fury. Sometimes it's quiet, polished, strategic. And that's exactly what makes it so dangerous. The ancient Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, they weren't warning us about fairy tale villains. They were warning us about people who consciously abandon reason, empathy, and virtue, not because they're broken, but because they choose power over principle. In this video, we're going to uncover 7 warning signs you're dealing with a toxic or evil person, and more importantly, how to protect your peace. Without becoming like them, let's dive in. Have you ever met someone who seemed fine until the smallest trigger lit a fire in them? 1 minute they're calm. The next they explode. No warning, no logic, just rage. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And when a person constantly thinks in anger, envy, or resentment, those emotions don't just pass through, they take over. They don't destroy because they must. They do it because they've lost control of themselves. Seneca called uncontrolled emotion the greatest threat to reason. The Stoics would say, don't just spot these people, look inward. Are you letting anger build? Is jealousy whispering in your ear? Because the real danger isn't just in them. It's in the slow, silent ways those same emotions can take root in us. Some people move through life without any real sense of right or wrong. To them, values like honesty, justice, and self-discipline aren't virtues, they're obstacles. They treat kindness like a weakness, and they bend morality to serve their desires. Have you ever met someone who always finds a way to justify their bad behavior? They lie, manipulate, or harm, and somehow, they still believe they're the hero of their story. Epictetus once asked, if someone lacks integrity and honor, what's left to admire? That's the paradox. Even deeply unethical people think they're acting for a good reason. But the Stoics remind us, you don't fight darkness by becoming dark. Stay rooted, hold the line. Even when everyone else abandons virtue, you don't have to. Trust is one of the most sacred things we can give. But to some people, it's not sacred at all. It's a tool, a shortcut, a way in. They'll smile, listen, even share something personal, just enough to lower your defenses. And once you're open, once you believe them, that's when the betrayal begins. Seneca once said, no man can be good who convinces himself that evil brings advantage. But these people do exactly that. They use vulnerability as a tactic. It's not connection they're after, it's control. So yes, be careful who you trust. But more importantly, be the kind of person who earns trust honestly. Because your power isn't in being guarded. It's in keeping your integrity intact, even when others throw theirs away. Have you ever known someone who always seems to be at the center of conflict, yet never takes responsibility for it? They whisper behind closed doors, stir up drama, plant seeds of doubt. Not because they're angry, but because they crave the chaos. Why? Because when others are unsettled, they feel in control. Marcus Aurelius once said, the mind of a wicked person is like a storm. And the truth is, that storm doesn't begin around them. It begins within them. They're drowning inside, so they pull others under too. That's why the Stoics urge us, don't join their storm. Don't fight with the wind. Be like a rock that the waves crash against, but it stands firm. Epictetus, you don't need to react. Just stay grounded. That's real strength. This is perhaps the most unsettling sign. Some people don't just hurt others, they enjoy it. Not in an obvious cartoonish way, but in the quiet satisfaction they feel when someone else fails, suffers, breaks. It's not indifference, it's pleasure in another's misery. But don't mistake that for power. It's not strength. It's a hollow soul that's forgotten how to feel. They confuse cruelty with control, because deep down, they've lost connection to empathy. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, what benefits the community benefits the individual. When someone delights in pain, they disconnect from the very thing that makes us human. Don't let their darkness pull you in. Even when you're hurt, don't become like them. Your peace is found in staying whole. Have you ever noticed how some people always have a reason for the harm they cause? It was for their own good. I had no choice. They brought it on themselves. They dress cruelty up as necessity, justifying it with clever words so they don't have to feel guilt. They weaponize logic to escape responsibility. But the Stoics remind us, real reason never contradicts virtue. If your logic leads to cruelty, it's not wisdom, it's manipulation. You don't have to retaliate. You don't have to win at someone else's expense. Because the moment you trade your peace for revenge, you've already lost. The goal isn't to win over others, it's to master yourself. Evil doesn't always show up with a loud bang. Sometimes it creeps in quietly, one small choice at a time. Not helping when they could, mocking someone instead of listening, choosing selfishness over service, again and again. And with each decision, they move further from empathy until they can no longer recognize suffering in others, or humanity in themselves. Epictetus warned, no one is more miserable than the one who harbors malice, because the more you lose empathy, the more you lose your own soul. So no matter how harsh the world becomes, stay human, even when others forget how. That's your real strength. Yes, evil exists, but that doesn't mean it wins. Because evil can't touch someone who's grounded, centered, and anchored in virtue. Seneca once wrote, "The wise man neither harms nor is harmed." You don't need to match their cruelty. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Instead, become so steady, so clear, so whole within yourself, that no one else's chaos can enter your peace. So when the world feels darker, don't dim your light. Shine brighter. Stand taller. Choose discipline. Choose clarity. And above all, choose virtue, no matter what the world throws at you.